I'm Harvey Jones, born in August of 1947. When I was in the fifth grade, our home got annexed into the city and had to change schools. And then in the seventh grade, I had to change schools again because I was in the junior high, and it was about 4 or 5 miles from the house, and they had to walk because since we were in the city now, we didn't have a school bus. And I met a guy who actually lived in my neighborhood. Didn't know that until then. We were kind of enamored with the same science teacher. He was 2 years older than I was. He was a ninth grader, and I was a seventh grader. And my mom and dad weren't living for the Lord. Dad had started running from God. And he invited me to his church. And I went several times, and then, of all places, we were sitting in the choir in the back row. They let teenagers be in the choir if they were on the back row. And I had never heard preaching like that guy did. And one Sunday he asked me if I wanted to go forward and get saved, and I told him no. He said, "You mean you want to go to hell?" And, well, no, I didn't want to go to hell, so I went forward. And I know now that the guy was giving me the Romans Road plan of salvation, and I answered all of his questions in the right places and said the right things, I guess. And they stood me up in front of the congregation with another couple and told everybody I'd gotten saved. And I really thought I had. And a few months later, we moved out into another county, and I was put back in the elementary school because seventh grade was elementary out there. And I went on trying to do right. And actually, when I was in the, I think, 8th grade, my dad got right with the Lord, and we joined a little Baptist church, and he was going to show me how to be saved, and he'd set me down at the kitchen table, and I told him I'd already been saved, and I said, "Remember, Mom, I told you." And she remembered that I had told her that, and so he said, "Well, we're going to join the church. You want to join with us, and you're going to have to be baptized." And I said, "Sure." And they baptized in the river. And so I got baptized and started hearing real preaching on a regular basis.
Wow.
And the more I heard, the more I was convinced. And I wasn't saved. I thought I was. And I remember one night getting out of bed, kneeling down at the window. It was in the summertime, I think. And I said, "I don't know if I got saved back yonder or not, but if I didn't, I know what it means to be saved, and I want to be saved now." And I trusted the Lord. It was funny to show you how little I knew about the Bible. I said, if I go to hell, I'm going to go to hell trusting Christ. And didn't really grow in the Lord a whole lot during that period of time until I came to BJ. And by the way, I didn't tell anybody I'd gotten saved because everybody thought I was saved. And I was a quote-unquote good kid because my dad made sure of that. And but in college, by that time, Dad had started a church, and later he resigned, and they put a young squirt. I mean, he was probably early 20s, and he preached right, but he didn't do right. And the teenagers called him to question on that, and he made them to look like they were part of the devil, and got the congregation to agree with him. So I sent my resignation into the church, and I didn't have a church. And of course, I met my wife-to-be, and that summer, my junior year, I went to Illinois to work in a factory, and we were active in the church, but I wasn't a member. It was a Cumberland Presbyterian church, which is Baptists and don't know it, and because they're different from the regular Presbyterians. Anyway, I decided to join the church, and I told the pastor I wanted to be baptized because I hadn't been baptized since I'd been saved. And I want to be baptized by immersion. And he said, okay. And my wife said, well, I want to be baptized by immersion too, and her girlfriend. So 3 of us went out to the lake after Sunday morning service to be baptized. Poor pastor, he'd never baptized anybody by immersion. And he was a little scared, but it went off okay. And I just knew when I came up out of the water, I was just being obedient to what God wanted me to do. And I even wrote my mom and dad a letter telling them that I had joined the Cumberland Presbyterian Church and that I had gotten baptized because I'd gotten saved and hadn't told anybody different, because again, they all thought I was. And then I came, while I was at BJ, I began to grow in the Lord and understand the scriptures. And the reason I know I got saved that night by the window was because my life on the inside totally changed. I was being good because my dad made me be good before. And after I got saved, I was trying to be good because I wanted to please the Lord. So I really believe that night down by the bed, and I didn't know you should write that down, so I don't remember the date, but I'm pretty sure it was between my sophomore and junior year of high school. And I trusted the Lord, and it's been different ever since.